Hello and welcome to topic C, entitled Empower the Team. We are still in lesson 4, which is about leading the project team. Empower the team. What does that mean? What does it mean to empower somebody? Because you don't empower inanimate objects. What does it mean to empower somebody or to empower a team? When somebody is empowered, the word empower means to give somebody power. When you empower somebody, maybe you give them money, you give them energy, you give them the ability to take decisions. You give them the ability to use technology. You give them the ability to be free financially or to invest. You delegate them some of your power. To empower somebody means to give them authority or power to do something, to take decisions. When somebody is empowered, they are stronger. They are more confident. They can control things. They can sign things. They can exercise their authority. When somebody is empowered, they are better. They are stronger. So how do you empower the team? This is what we are going to discuss. Read this quotation. It says that in 2016, after years of analyzing interviews and data from more than 100 teams, Google researchers found that the drivers of effective team performance are the group's average level of emotional intelligence and a high degree of communication between members. Now, if we can summarize this, team performance is equal to emotional intelligence plus communication. It means that if you want your team to perform effectively, to perform highly, to perform better, let there be a high degree of communication amongst them. It doesn't mean you are the one to handle communication alone or you are the one to take this. No. Let there be communication amongst yourselves. You being the project manager, you are also part of the team. Let there be communication amongst the team members to a high degree, number one, and let there be emotional intelligence. We are going to talk more about this aspect, this term called emotional intelligence. So this was a research that was done in 2016. I started this topic by saying that when somebody is empowered, it means they have more power and authority. They have more energy. They can take decisions. They are free to exercise themselves in a job. If you are empowered, you have more freedom. If you are empowered, you can take more decisions. If you are empowered, you can communicate freely. If you are empowered, you have more money. If you are empowered, you can invest. If you are empowered, you have a say, a better say, a bigger say in the way things do things. If you are empowered, you can act better. So empowerment, unity, and autonomy are three terms that come together. When a team is empowered, they don't need the project manager to be directing things for them. They don't need somebody to be telling them what to do. They can do things themselves. They are autonomous. They are self-organizing. An empowered team is a team that is working together in unity, like one unit, irrespective of the tens or hundreds or even thousands of people in that team. An empowered team is working towards a common goal, a common purpose. They have a shared common understanding of what the project is all about. They share responsibility, they help one another, they are united. It's about the team, not about the individuals. And they can even resolve their issues themselves. Empowered teams work as a cohesive unit. It's like an engine. An engine has various parts. If certain parts of the engine are not working, the engine is not working. But when the entire engine, all the parts are working, it's well oiled, then that's a cohesive unit. That's an empowered team. It's about the team, not about the individuals. But the individuals they respect one another. You cannot create an environment where people are working together without respect. Empowered teams support diversity, equity, and inclusion. What is that? Diversity just means that we are very different. We all come from different economic, social backgrounds. We all have different political, religious views. We speak different languages. We look differently. We are of different genders, and by the way, there are only two, male and female. But because, despite our differences and our diversity in the team, we respect one another. We treat one another impartially and fairly. That's where equity comes. It's about justice. Inclusion means that despite our diversities, everybody feels like they are part of the team. Everybody feels valued and respected. Everybody feels that they have something to contribute in the project. They don't feel ostracized. And if you go back to the statistics I showed, 79% of people leave jobs because they don't feel appreciated. When you appreciate people, from time to time, you tell your team members, I like what you are doing, keep doing it. You support them. You communicate with them. You buy them gifts to appreciate their work. You tell them, wow, I love the way you did that thing. It doesn't mean that if they do something bad, you will not tell them. You will tell them, but you tell them in a way that they can correct themselves. But when they do something good, you also appreciate them. Today in workplaces, DEI, especially in the West, is becoming a big thing. And sometimes it can be used negatively. So I just want to warn you with that. One of the aspects of the environment which is so important is psychological safety. Psychological safety. Your team members must feel comfortable being themselves without being afraid that they are going to be told off for speaking their mind. A psychologically safe working environment is an environment where people are relaxed, they are comfortable, they can express themselves, they can ask questions, they can even say, oh yes, I am the one who did that thing wrong, without being afraid of negative consequences, like being embarrassed or being punished. A psychologically safe environment fosters communication and collaboration, embraces diversity, is built on trust and mutual respect, ensures ethical decision making, is one that fosters openness and collaboration and transparency. Now let's talk about some motivational or organizational theories. You see, over the years, there have been some experts who have come up with certain theories. They have written books, they have held seminars, they have given talks. And these organizational or motivational theories explores the way organizations are structured, the way they function, the way people interact with one another, the way workers interact amongst themselves, and the way they interact amongst with their superiors. There are many such theories. We're going to look at 4 in this training. The first and probably the most popular is Abraham Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Now, Abraham Maslow was an American psychologist, and he wrote a book, I think it was in the 40s or 50s, and that book crystallized his concept of the needs of human beings. And through his work, observing human beings, working with human beings, Maslow recognized that human beings have 5 types of needs, and he organized these needs in the form of a pyramid, with the bottom of the pyramid being made up of human beings' biological and psychological needs, which include air, the need for good air, good water, good food, good shelters, the need for sleep, clothing, the need to be able to have children. Now, according to Maslow, those are the most basic needs of human beings. And that once human beings have become comfortable with these needs, they start searching for safety and security needs. They want their belongings to be safe. They want their family to be safe. They want to work in a safe employment. And once they are content with those needs, or they have fulfilled those needs, they start looking for love and belonging. They want to have good friendship, intimacy, connection in social networks, family, and all that. And once they have become comfortable with those needs, they start looking for self-esteem needs. They want to be respected in society. They want to have some sort of status and recognition, freedom to express themselves. And then after that, the human beings start looking for their highest needs, which is self-actualization. They desire to become the most that they can be, and also to make sure that others become like them. The next motivation theory was put together by Frederick Herzberg. Frederick Herzberg came up with the motivation hygiene theory. Motivation hygiene theory. Now, Herzberg was another American psychologist, and he became an influential person in the business milieu. And according to Herzberg, he studied the business and working environment, and he says that there are 2 sets of factors that influence job satisfaction: the hygiene factors and the motivator factors. The hygiene factors are factors that lead to job dissatisfaction, whilst the motivator factors lead to the opposite, job satisfaction. What are some of the hygiene factors? According to Herzberg, he said that in the workplace, basic salary, the company's code of conduct, company's policies, the working relationship between workers, the working relationship between workers and their superiors are things that are not good for job satisfaction. We need to try and fix them. But on the other hand, Herzberg found out that there are certain motivating factors in the workplace. For example, you work in a work that's very engaging, that's challenging, that you are recognized and rewarded for your achievement and your performance and your behaviors, where there is a career ladder for advancement. Now, so if we can improve on these factors, of course, people will be satisfied in their jobs. The third motivation theory was posited by Douglas McGregor. Now, Douglas McGregor said that in the workplace, there are two types of workers. And Douglas McGregor was another American professor in management. He worked at MIT. And he said that there are theory X and theory Y people, which also talks about the management style of these people. What are the theory Ys? Theory X. These are people who don't like work. They don't like to take responsibility. They avoid work. They're always there chitty-chatting, saying negative things. And they don't like increased responsibility. So the way to manage these people is to be hard. Use carrot and stick on them. But there are other people in the workplace, they're theory wise. There are people who like work, they seek job satisfaction, and they don't require micromanaging. So how should you deal with them? Get them involved in decision making. Delegate work to them. Now, the question is, theory X managers are often seen as old-fashioned, especially in the Gen Z generation. But can you think of a modern context in which this type of management, this style of management can be helpful? I'll give you a few moments to think about that. Okay. Let me give my own few cents of thoughts about this. In the modern context, you need theory X managers, authoritarian managers when you are in the military, for example, foot soldiers. Another example is when you are dealing with paramedics, people do emergencies. Also health and safety, these sort of situations, you need this sort of management style. The last motivation theory was posted by David McClelland, who came up with the achievement motivation theory. And he said that human beings have three types of emotional needs. The need for achievement, want to achieve, want to do more. The need for power, want to prevail, want to lead, want to have impact. And the need for affiliation, want to form social bonds, want to form networks, want to be seen as a team player. And this information can be useful to influence goal setting, feedback in assessment, and to come up with motivation or reward systems. And we can identify needs for balance to create T-shaped or high-performing project teams. Now, there are other organizational theories apart from these four, like the halo effect. The halo effect is a cognitive bias where a positive impression about a person or a brand or a product in one area positively influences our overall opinion or feelings about them in another unrelated area. For example, you can, let's say in your team, there is a vacancy for a supervisor, and you find that there's a good technician and you decide to promote them to a supervisor without evaluating if they are good at supervising people. That's an example of a halo effect. There is also the Hawthorne effect. The Hawthorne effect is something that was found in Chicago, and the Hawthorne effect is a phenomenon where individuals modify their behavior simply because they are aware that they are being observed, or there's going to be some sort of reinforcement of some positive aspects. For example, if people feel that they're going to have improved working conditions, they are going to work better. That's the Hawthorne effect. There are also things like the expectant theory. The expectant theory of motivation, which was developed by Victor Vroom, which suggests that individuals are motivated to behave in a certain way based on anticipated results or consequences of that behavior. So you can read up on more of these theories. One of the ways in which we ensure people are empowered is to make sure that the team is upholding their team charter. Make sure that everybody has a team charter. Make sure that we are upholding the team charter. Make sure that the ground rules are not being violated. And if there are new people who join the team, they should go through the process of being inducted or being shown what a team charter is all about. And then they should also sign up on it. Now, if there are certain elements of the team charter which are not working, then let's make sure that the team updates it. So people should be reminded that this is a social agreement in the team. We should use servant leadership skills to make sure that the team charter is upheld. And where there is severe violations, let's make sure that the consequent disciplinary action prevails. Now, one of the ways to empower people, to motivate people to perform better, is to use rewards and recognition. You know, the late Mother Teresa, who worked with a lot of poor people in India, said that there is more need for recognition and rewards than for bread. Rewards and recognitions are very powerful. I can give you a lot of practical examples that I have used as a senior management staff to motivate my teams using rewards and recognition. Rewards, of course, are tangible. It could be gifts, it could be money, and they should always be accompanied by some sort of recognition. But recognition are intangible. You are saying something good, you are writing something good about a person's action, behavior, or performance. I'll give you certain examples, practical examples. Do you celebrate each other's birthday where you work? If not, I think it could be something you should do. Do you say thank you? Or do you appreciate your team members' work? You can create certificates of recognition for your team members and even for your contractors for the good work. You can write good emails. You can go to somebody and say, oh, I love the way you did this work. It was very good what you did. You can buy gifts for your team members to appreciate them. Make sure that as part of your budget, you allocate some money for recognition and rewards. And make sure that this appears in your resource management plan. If you are in an environment, a company where they practice this from top management, then it becomes part of the culture if it is applied elsewhere. But if not, do it. That's a good part of leadership. But beware. Make sure you do this openly, transparently, and watch out for negative effects. People who might not be happy or spread some rumors. Let's talk about decision making. People are empowered when they can make decisions themselves. And the team charter will identify decision making and even conflict resolution criteria. The best decisions should be made through consensus. Now, what is consensus? Is when everybody or a majority of the people agree on a certain way to course of action. It means that even though certain people might not agree, they should support the decision of the group. Even when that decision is a bad decision, they should support it. That's what consensus is all about. Always look for opportunities for group decision making. When we are doing our estimates, when we are coming together to do the charter, when we are collecting requirements, when we are creating work breakdown structure, when we are writing user stories, and so when we are working on risk, and so on. Always look for group work, group decision making. Sometimes you need to vote. Sometimes you need to take decisions based on a multitude of criteria. But sometimes when everything else has failed, one member, it could be you, should decide for the entire group. Now, there are certain voting methods we should know. Unanimous voting is where everybody agrees. Sometimes it's not so easy. Majority is when more than 50% agree. Plurality is when you have more than one option, and then there is a largest block. Say 45% go for A, 35% go for B, and 20% go for C. A, which has 45%, would make the decision, or will go with A. There are other voting methods like fist of five. Fist of five is where we used a closed fist and fingers of the hand to vote, of one hand to vote. A closed fist or clenched fist says, no way, I'm not agreeing with this, I'm blocking this. One finger means I see major issues, but that need to be resolved. Two fingers mean we see minor issues. Three fingers means there are minor issues which can be resolved later, I'm going for it. Four fingers says you're fine. Five fingers says you are all for it. So from clenched fist to two fingers shows lack of consensus. From 3 fingers to 5 fingers shows consensus. Then it's planning poker. I've already explained that in schedule when we're talking about adaptive. Dot voting, we've also talked about that. You can use dots, plastic dots, use paper dots to vote. Roman voting is thumbs up or thumbs down. Polling is like you can use a list of people, like when we do for elections, and or a list of options, and you select on a paper and maybe put in an envelope or a secret ballot. That's polling. One way you can empower people is to display tasks visibly using RACI charts, using Kanban boards. So just encourage people to self-organize, to work together, and make sure that their tasks are displayed transparently. Whether we are working in a co-located situation or whether we're working remotely, tasks should be displayed visibly, openly, so that everybody knows what everybody is doing at any one time. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. We've come to the end of this topic, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.